do, 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 do. Happy Father's Day. Here are some big rides coming at ya. But first, we gotta wait for all the mods to load in. Not mods, but all the workshop stuff. So it's gonna freeze on me any second now. I don't know why. I got in a mood where I just had to make a bunch of big wooden coasters. And then I threw a bunch of other big hyper and biggins in here as well. So let's just go have some fun and ride some rides. Because why the heck not? That's the tipper. That's the tipper. Let's work our way over. We'll save this guy for the end because that's one of my favorite. Let's come over here to these two, which are very similar. Give it a stop. Give it a start. Here's the details as we go up. And let's enjoy this Woody. Alright, got some decent airtime. And I think a fairly interesting layout. Let's head over to the one next to it. Here's the deets of this one. A little bit longer, but a very similar layout, but different, obviously different banking and stuff because of the type of coaster that it is, given the fact that it's different than and the one next to it. So here we go. All right. And this one actually spent the time to time out, when the second car leaves and all that, so that there's no waiting or anything of that nature. All right, so we've done the tipper, we've done these two. Let's head over here. These are also some of my favorites. I really liked making these guys. Neat. And I definitely think, I could save some of these and stick them in a park or two in the future. Especially these ones over here that are a little bit more condensed. They could make a good attraction someplace. So let's go have some fun. See, what I like about this ride is it's totally. First off, I timed it again, but this could totally be for like a 42-inch tall kid, right? It's a big coaster, but it's not. It doesn't have, big tight turns, things like that. You get speed, but you come back up. It slows down, so totally could be for kids. And then I really like this one too. This one has a little bit of interesting feel right here where you're coming in and out. The drop is different, so let's go for a ride on this bad boy over here. And here's the deets. All right, you get 3,000 foot of track in a very nice space. Oops. So here we go. right. This one too, maybe you could get away with, 42-inch height. That initial drop, and then flat drop towards that 46, 48, but still a good ride. Very entertaining ride. I could totally see either of these being in a park. Again, any of these being in a park. Maybe that tipper. There's some relatively unrealistic aspects to this as you come out of here and then you roll and then the reverse roll out. I guess maybe they could do that in real life. But fun ride nonetheless. All right, let's head over and do some launch action. Here's the deets. All right, there's a launch coaster. Again, I could totally see this one actually being in a park too. This is a very nice ride with two launches, which makes it, a little bit more interesting. So yeah, I could totally see that one being in a park too. All right, let's head over here. And here's the deets. 8,000 feet of track. 8 air times. Let's go have a massive amount of fun. All right, there we go. 8,000 foot of track. And uh, a very fun Beyond Hypercoaster. Um, it's a very fun Giga, with interesting layout, to say the least. All right, and there were two. I like this one. This one's very interesting, intriguing, has a very interesting layout, right? As you watch, and it descends into itself there, comes back up and around, continues to turn, and then turns out. Right, so that's a definite interesting and different layout as well. Let's go for a ride. And here are the deets. All right. And then last but not least, on this Father's Day special, we've got the first one that I made when I started this world. The nice big tunnel underneath, right? So that's the beauty of this guy. Plus, you get a little bit of like racing action over here. Now, they don't race because it's obviously not next to each other. Right, but I wanted to have a coaster that gave me some of that American Eagle vibe, and that's what this does. Right, this gives me a little bit of that American Eagle vibage, and I really like this. This is a very nice ride, and I could totally see this. Being in a park someplace, I would build, a restaurant here, maybe a little one here. Same thing over here. That could be a cool view for a restaurant. But definitely in here, you could totally put, like I did with the water ride, something over here. So let's go check it out. And here are the needs. That nice, just smooth everything. So I really like this one. This is a really, really fun ride, in my opinion. But you guys will let me know what you think down in the comments, and hope you enjoyed this Father's Day special as we go for one last ride.